Here he is coming from the side. I'm going to zoom him up here. So here's what kind of screaming out. I think he's got on Nike Freeze, and they kind of help force this running style where he's got his toe dipped down, which kind of creates this early contact, and his heel never really gets to the ground because he's used to walking in these jacked up shoes. His knee drive is better. Toe off is better from the side. He's going to have a little bit of, still need to drive through the big toe. But all in all together, the two things that are from the side is that foot dangling down. You can see the angle here, how it's dropped down. I'd like that foot up a little bit more. And quite simply, you can just drill that when going over mini hurdles and things like that. Even with toe pops, it's very helpful. Another thing is I've been taking a rubber band and pulling people fast, doing toe pops where you've got to get that foot up or else you're going to trip. You only get about 4 strides in, but I daisy chain a bunch of rubber bands together and give you a tug, and you work on getting your toes up more. From the front, he's getting better. A good toe off on the right. Good toe off on the left. So the mini hurdle stuff is working really good. But again, you can see from the side, he's running on his toes, and we got to get that whole foot on the ground. Good drive there. But you can see the collapse. That's costing him 1 frame to get the foot in place. Come on, it's slowing up on me. So there's contact and that collapse where he should just be coming straight down and hitting. One thing you can do with that is in your mini hurdle runs, put a mat of varying height, nothing more than an inch or inch and a half, into varying softness or hardness, and putting that down in between. That's going to also help drive to get that foot up more. That's really effective and a great exercise. In fact, I think that should be the bulk of what you do for mini hurdles now, because his lateral strength is really good here. Everything's in place, but we've got to get that foot on the ground better. That's not bad though. He's getting better. I'm going to do from the side first because this is the biggest issue and has a huge impact. When he goes up to a stance here, decent stance, he could be, back leg can come up a little bit more and he can get a little more weight forward. And the reason why I say that is on his first step, he's raising up and stepping out. So here's his toe off. He's getting both feet are on the ground at the same time, and that's a major problem. And you can see his posture here is kind of bent over. But somehow, he's still bent over on the second step, but by his third step, he's finally getting up and trying to go. So one thing I would do is work on, I would start in a 2-point stance and have him cross his arms across his chest and use his feet in that stagger and bend over as far as he can into like a start position. But when he starts, he wants to create this lift here where his body, instead of being in this bent over position, is straight. So we should see the head and everything in a straight line here. Instead, he's got his knee up in his chest. And I would also try and think about bounding out, because this leg is on the ground immediately. We've got to create some hang time so the foot has a chance to come under behind his center of mass so he gets more of a push. And I think the start has a huge impact down the road as far as running, because he's now constantly behind in that first movement. From there, I would go to a 3-point stance and then eventually work back down to a 4-point stance. But his setup is good. Another thing he needs to learn to do is, I want him to concentrate when you go back to a 4-point stance. See how long he can keep his feet on the ground while extending his body. Because you see in his first movements here, he's coming straight up. By the time that foot hits the ground, his hip has not traveled any distance, maybe about half an inch or half a foot before that foot hits the ground. So that's why he's getting beat by some of these kids that he should be as fast as. They're moving forward and he's not moving anywhere by that first step. So right out of the gate, he's already one step behind. From the back, we're going to see this pretty well. Good wide stance, I like it. But watch how he has to reposition this first foot. And I don't know if that's him getting set, but I didn't see that in the first one. Good wide position. But again, you can see he's down and not projecting hips. And so projection is actually the key word for driving out of the hole here. Once he gets going, it's not bad. Not bad. So it's really that first step and ankles that we need to work on at this stage. You can kind of get rid of some of that lateral hip work because he's got it already, and we're just wasting time unless you vary it and start having him hold pretty heavy weights over his head over the mini hurdles.